8:45. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Here is a news edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by J. Yogaraj. First, the headlines. The Ministry of Education is to open a new university to train fresh teachers and educators. Sri Lanka is to set up a data protection authority next year. The Excise Department requests all Sri Lankans to be watchful and help the authorities to evade from ICE menace. Over 300,000 Sri Lankans have left the country for overseas employment this year. France is to extend higher education opportunities for Sri Lankans. Twitter blocks users from sharing Mastodon links. And those are the headlines. The Ministry of Education is planning to open a new university to train fresh teachers and educators. The ministry said the new university will help the country to produce qualified teachers. The ministry added an outflow of 800 administrative and management staff and has seen vacancies over 5,800 principal positions for the year ended 2022. The ministry also plans to implement modern subjects into Sri Lanka's syllabus, such as artificial intelligence, wellness and sustainability. The new university will focus on extracting core youngsters and creating young qualified teachers in the education sector. The ministry also plans to recruit another 35,000 teachers to resolve the shortage. 26,000 out of these graduates are to be recruited as teachers from all over the island, and another 6,000 teachers will be selected from the teacher training school, the ministry added. Sri Lanka is to set up a data protection authority, DPA, next year to protect personal data. State Minister of Technology Kanaka Herath says the government enacted the Personal Data Protection Act recently, thereby becoming the first South Asian country to introduce comprehensive data protection legislation, providing provisions to establish this independent authority. He added that the data regulator will operate independently and will collaborate with other institutions such as the Central Bank, Securities and Exchange Commission and the Telecommunication Regulatory Commission of Sri Lanka. The Commissioner General of the Excise Department, M.J. Gunasiri, requests all racketeers engaged in selling and distributing narcotic drugs to help to save the children in the country. He also requests parents to be vigilant on the activities of their children and to pay special attention in this regard. He added that the narcotic drug ice is highly dangerous and causing many consequences for the people and especially young children. He requests all Sri Lankans to be watchful and help authorities to evade from this menace that is spreading rapidly nowadays. This news comes to you from Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Minister Manusha Nanekara says over 300,000 Sri Lankan have left the country for overseas employment this year. According to the figures of the Foreign Employment Bureau, year 2023 is recorded as a year in which most Sri Lankan went for overseas employments. Participating in a function held to mark the International Migrants' Falls today, Minister added many countries badly affected by the economic crisis are backed by their own migrant workers. He said Sri Lanka too can find a solution for the issue with the support of overseas employees. Minister Nanekara added that the government had introduced several incentives to encourage Sri Lankan workers in foreign countries to send their money through the formal system. Since the government is giving benefits to the migrant workers, the foreign remittances is increasing and the target is to achieve around $1 billion per month at the end of 2023, he added. French Ambassador Jean Francois says France will take into account the expansion of higher education in Sri Lanka. He said France is planning to begin student exchange programs next year. French ambassador also said France had to halt its previous academic and student exchange programs due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and it is necessary to recommence these programs next year. And that's local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
The Ministry of Education is planning to open a new university to train fresh teachers and educators. The ministry said as many qualified youth are leaving the country, the new university will help the country to produce qualified teachers. The ministry said an outflow of 800 administrative and management staff and has seen vacancies of over 5,800 principal positions for the year ended 2022 as a result of retirement at age 60. The ministry also plans to implement modern subjects into Sri Lanka's syllabus such as artificial intelligence, wellness and sustainability. And that came to you in top news.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Watch Live is brought to you by
Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year with CIB with special gifts, discounts and easy payment schemes available till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
The Met Department has issued an advisory for heavy rain and strong winds for eastern and Nuwa provinces and Polonnaruwa and Hambantota districts. The low pressure area over southeast Bay of Bengal persists over the same region and it is likely to move westward towards the southwest Bay of Bengal. Hence, showers will occur at times in eastern, Nuwa, southern, Samprakama and central provinces and in Polonnaruwa districts. And that was Watchlight.
Let's celebrate Christmas and New Year with CIB with special gifts, discounts and easy payment schemes available till 31st of December. Come to CIB today.
World News brought to you by courtesy of
We give you the strength to rise higher and higher.
Never step back, but always march forward.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
For sea headlines, a huge cylindrical aquarium housing 1,500 exotic fish bursts in Berlin. Liberians protest over mounting living cost. Twitter blocks users from sharing Mastodon links, and those are the headlines of the world news. A freestanding cylindrical aquarium housing about 1,500 exotic fish burst in Berlin on Friday. Glass jars, tables and other debris were swept out of the Dom Aquari complex, which includes a Radisson Hotel, a museum, shops and restaurants, as 1 million liters of water poured out a 14-meter high tank shortly before 6 a.m. Police said 2 people sustained injuries from falling shards of glass and had to be taken to the hospital. None of the animals inside the saltwater aquarium, which contained clownfish, tailor batfish, survived. One witness, Gwendoline Sequants, told the German news channel she heard a loud bang and feared a bomb had exploded. Hundreds of protesters gathered on Saturday at the outer section of the Samuel Canyon complex in Monrovia to protest against soaring costs of living. It was a day before President George Weah returned from a 48-day trip abroad. The protest was organized by an opposition alliance in the West African country. Twitter has blocked its users from sharing some links to its social media rival Mastodon. Mastodon is divided into groups called servers based on many topics including the UK, snooker and security. Twitter has blocked links to some of the largest servers which users would join, including the most popular social channel. And Twitter is also stopping users from adding links to their Mastodon account in their bios. And that's World News.
World News brought to you by courtesy of
Amidst all challenges, we will rally around you and advance.
In the face of hardships, let's stand strong together.
Empowering you to reach greater heights. People's Leasing, the trusted leader.
Development News. The government plans to resume the Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA-funded light rail transit project. The light rail is to stretch from Malabé to Colombo Fort, which was abruptly terminated by the previous regime. The Presidential Secretariat said the government is set to renew the project contract with JICA loan facility due to its favorable conditions. And that was Development News. In sports, after a month of football and a total of 63 matches, the Qatar 2022 World Cup is slated to draw to a close this evening. Before France and Argentina square off in World Cup final, the 88,000 expected fans in attendance at Lusail iconic stadium will be treated to the tournament's closing ceremony, which FIFA has dubbed a night to remember. And that was sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
3 Sri Lankan companies have shown interest in launching a ferry service between Pondicherry in South India and to Kankesenthore. The service is expected to commence in January next year. 2 more ferry services from Pondicherry to Trincomalee and Pondicherry to Colombo too are to be launched next year, increasing the maritime connectivity between the 2 nations. And that was Business News.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest, an interest rate of 22% in 4 months. NSB, the safest place for your money.
Economic News, courtesy of...
For the 5th consecutive year, LOLC is awarded People's Financial Services Brand of the Year at the 2022 Slim Kantar People's Awards. As the People's Financial Services Brand of the Year, LOLC continues to place the customer first, and this has won the hearts, minds and trust of Sri Lankans, with yet another prestigious award as proof of this lasting commitment. LOLC, imagine the possibilities.
A program will be organized at district level to evaluate the persons who are paying tax. Minister Ranjit Sibalapitiya said that the first program will be held on the 23rd of this month in Colombo. He also stated that the most important persons to be taken into account are the taxpayers and not the policymakers amidst the existing economic crisis. This program will be implemented covering all 25 districts in the island. And that was Economic News.
LOLC Finance is taking the power of innovation to the next level, winning 5 goals at the Technovation Awards 2022, leading the digital revolution with cutting-edge interbanking digital payments. LOLC Finance claims the overall Gold Award, whilst also claiming an extraordinary victory in digital banking.
Weather Report.
The Met Department has issued an advisory for heavy rain and strong winds for eastern and Uva provinces and Polonnaruwa and Hambantota districts. The low pressure area over southeast Bay of Bengal persists over the same region, and it is likely to move westward towards the southwest Bay of Bengal. Hence, showers will occur at times in eastern, Uva, southern, Sabarkamu and central provinces and in Polonnaruwa districts. Fairly heavy showers above 75 millimeters are likely at some places elsewhere over the island. And that was the weather report. To wind up this news broadcast, let's look at the main points once again. The Ministry of Education is to open a new university to train fresh teachers and educators. Sri Lanka is to set up a data protection authority next year. The Excise Department requests all Sri Lankans to be watchful and help the authorities to evade from the ICE menace. Over 300,000 Sri Lankans have left the country for overseas employment this year. France is to extend higher education opportunities for Sri Lankans. Twitter blocks users from sharing Mastodon links. And with that, we conclude this news broadcast of Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.